Welcome to Game Soup. It's the game design podcast where we throw ideas in a pot and see what's cooking. I'm joined by a very special in-person guest,
Kayla Dice. You may notice there's no sort of jumpy pause or whatever as we're maybe mildly out of sync. I mean, we're usually as in sync as we can be, but just via Discord, I mean.
Yes, no, Kayla is joining me in Newcastle.
It's true. That's where our shows that have been in-person recording, have been Newcastle.
Yep.
Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle,
yes. We're possibly doing one in Edinburgh at Tabletop Scotland. Details to be confirmed.
I need to ask you more about that.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, we'll be at Tabletop Scotland.
Yeah.
Either way.
You, me,
Yep.
Alyssa, Laurie O'Connell, we're all going to be at Tabletop Scotland.
Yes.
Selling games. Shooting the shit.
Buy-in games.
Yeah. Might, it's a 3-day concert. I might see if I can, run some pickup games or something.
Nice.
Maybe I'll run some pickups of... Well, I'll probably run some pickups of something I have on the stall, so
that people can go buy it afterwards.
Yeah, so I could imagine doing After the Fold, or... not After the Fold, Out of the Fold, or... I'm trying to think of other games where I'm that I will be selling that are good, quick, punchy, or one-shot stuff that...
Yeah. Goblin Country does well at cons.
That makes sense. That's where...
Plug it, when we pick up game it.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I first met Alyssa.
Jesus. Wow.
I think actually maybe she might have followed me on Twitter before then.
Probably.
Yeah, but I think I knew you before I knew Alyssa.
Yeah.
That's irrelevant. This episode, by the way, at the timing of it coming out, I'm actually just going to plug something verbally.
Go ahead.
On this Wednesday, on the Wednesday just gone, a new episode of List Your Life Path came out, which was the season finale, which includes some more details about the future of the show, but also is a fun interview with Alyssa and Chloe. And it gave me the chance to say in my serious interview podcast, oh my god, so tell me how you met. I don't get enough chances to be a gay little gossip on This Is Your Life Path, so I run at them whenever I have. I had a game idea.
Go ahead.
So, this is another thing of me returning to One Shot Town, but also is me stuck in a problem. Basically, I have a game partially written.
Uh-huh.
It's currently called Time Flies. At one point it was called The Test of Time. It's about these characters who find themselves lost outside of time, and they end up in a place called The Other Place.
Okay.
Which is ruled by the Time Barons. And the Time Barons can send these people home, but they're well, you need to do something for us first. You need to do a series of missions to make sure time stays safe. And it's fun. I have written that a lot of the core sort of setting, hub world stuff, and I have a fun system for it.
So is it a sort of in this session, we're sending you to 1939 to make sure Hitler doesn't get shot or something?
Yeah, it would be things like that. It's there's a series of... I'll include in this big book, if I make it, some pre-written adventures, and then I'll also include some guidance on improving your own adventures. And I'll show different ones. I imagine there's anachronisms where it's hey lads, yeah, no, there's a T-Rex, it just ate Al Capone.
Yeah, go sort that out.
You need, yeah. Other times it'd be Time Med, they're yeah, no, sorry guys, another one's tried to stop the JFK thing, you need to get over in there. Or some things where it's aberrations, where it's just oh yeah, everyone knows fireworks were invented at this place at this time, but randomly 30 years earlier they're happening now, and that's not very good, so you need to go meddle it.
It's this is the first ripple on the timeline.
Yeah.
Sort out before it becomes...
And there's a thing you can look at where I'm but why? Why are we sorting these ripples? Why are they happening?
Yeah.
What's causing this?
Did you ever read Time Riders?
No.
It was a series that I was kind of into as a kid. It was not my Percy Jackson, but I got all the books from the library at school. Which is this.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's a bit like Doctor Who in terms of what your actual things would do. They're going to be a bit like Doctor Who episodes. But your setup is different, so it doesn't read like a pastiche. It's also got, I guess, a bit of Legends of Tomorrow and a bit of Booster Gold and Rip Hunter if you're into comics. Anyway, I'll explain a bit about how the system works.
Yeah, what's your mechanics?
In a bit. Actually, no, I can do that now. So, it's kind of... Have you ever read Invincible Sword Princess by Kazumi Shin?
No.
That's alright, but that means I just don't. It takes from a bit of that, and it takes from a bit of Patchwork World. Basically, you have, I think it's 4 or 5 key core moves, and for each of those, the way they work, they're PBTA-like moves, but instead of you having stats, there's always a set of questions for them. 3 questions which help you build your dice pool for an individual move.
Okay.
And then there's, like, success ranges, so it's like, oh, this many dice, 3 successes is this good thing happens, and it also has, like, fluctuating difficulty levels that you can set. So it combines them. I really like the way the violence one works, because for the time travel game, it's like, okay, yeah, you need to answer yes, and every question you answer yes to gives you a dice. But for the doing violence move, it's like, the things that get you more dice are like, are you acting out of control? Are you really emotional? Are you trying to hurt someone? And it's like, yeah, all of the stuff that's going to make your roll for violence better definitely means you have fucked up your time travel mission more.
Yeah.
It's like, you want a good roll, you need to do things that are otherwise probably going to mess up the whole mission.
So that is good in, like, that's mechanics of storytelling.
Yeah, and I think I will maybe flip them slightly for this game. I'm otherwise going to work on. But okay, so here's why this is obviously not a one-shot game. What I've described.
No,
but
I feel like you could do one-shots and then have a campaign.
Oh,
totally.
out of it, but I'm stuck in this weird loop here because logically the next thing I should do now, I've got a lot of setting done. I should start writing some adventures so I can figure out the shape of this.
Yeah.
But to write some adventures, I think I need to have a bit more of the game. I think I need to have some, like, character creation stuff so I can at least write some pre-gens and do that. But to make a bit more of the game, I need to be confident that this system, which I think is fun, actually works. But to be confident about this system, I need to run a game of it. To run a game of it,
you need to make
an adventure. So I'm kind of stuck in this triangle. And obviously, I could break the triangle by just doing one of these things and ignoring the other stuff, like writing an adventure and running the risk that the system is shit, blah blah blah. But I have a more out-of-the-box, complicated solution, which is to make an entirely different game using the same system.
Why?
Because then I can play this one-shot game as a test. And that will make me go, okay, cool, this system works. I can break my backlog on writing. And also it's because me being like, oh, I'm not playing many campaign games at the moment. It's actually been a while since I played a game which had a campaign.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm a bit adrift from that style of play, and I want to play some more campaign stuff, which I'm going to start doing at the end of August. I'm going to start running a terminal game before I dive back to making time flies. Because I'm like, I'm a bit out of touch with what those concerns are. Whereas I'm playing loads of one-shot games. They're really easy for me to play and play test by doing that, and I can get this. So that's my idea. Right. Then I just had to start thinking like, okay, but this set of moves are really interesting because I think it's like escape danger, assess a situation or place. It might be tell a lie is its own one. I feel it's like assessing something and like investigating, like snooping around are separate things, and then doing violence. It's 5. They cover a lot of things.
I feel like telling a lie could be changed to convince somebody so that it works for like, yes, we're telling the truth, please believe me, and I'm telling a lie, please believe me.
I think there may be, actually, maybe that's it. I think there's a separate move for convincing people away from telling lies.
Yeah.
Which I think makes sense because it's like definitely for the time travel game, telling lies is really important.
Yeah.
You're constantly not saying like, I'm not, oh no, I am from here. Whereas, like, yeah, your ability to tell lies is a bit different meaningfully from your just convincing people. Yeah. But I was thinking about, like, what kind of stuff can slot into this. At one point I was like, this probably can't really work for, like, a dungeon-esque game or whatever. It feels a bit disconnected from that. It feels like whatever this system is, it needs to be, like, a lot about investigating places or situations and dealing with them. And I was just trying to think, okay, cool, what's the fun one-shot thing here? At one point I was like, maybe you're fucking, like, investigating maybe it's a mystery game, you're investigating something on a space station or whatever.
Yeah.
And then randomly I landed on this idea of, what if you're, like, trying to exorcise a bunch of spirits who have possessed people, like almost a sort of Ghostbusters thing.
Uh-huh.
I was like, that's fun, but it feels very done. And then something suddenly clicked, and it's why I'm bringing this to Game Soup specifically, where I was like, what if it's not spirits that are possessing people? What if it is video game characters? I want to go grab the plot of the Cursed Console a bit.
Okay.
So it's like, oh yeah, there's a console that I imagine it would play into a game store is going to get rid of their game soon. You and your friends go, you find this console, oh no, it's been cursed by a witch or something.
Yeah.
I had some idea of why that would be. And then it's like, yeah, all of these game avatars have just jumped into people all over your small town. You need to go and find all of these people and uninstall them.
Yeah.
So that's my idea for what could be a fun one-shot game, where I'll have some, like, semi-pre-written characters, and it will let me test this system.
Yeah, and it's like players could, like, bring, like, ideas for the characters who jump out of the game.
Yeah. I think I'll probably, like, write some pre-gens in the way we talked about with thing, where I'll be like, Crash Wolverine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, Gloom Guy.
Smash punch him.
Yeah. And then it's often figuring out, like, because it's like, yeah, it's obvious how Doom Guy, or Gloom Guy, I should say.
Yeah.
Don't want to get in trouble with
Doom
lawyers.
Guy?
Is going to mess things up. He'll go try and grab a gun and start shooting people with some Martians, but it's like, yeah, how does our, Cousin Jump, mess up the situation? Beyond the fact that, like, they're possessing a guy and that guy wants to get out, it's like,
yeah.
Are they someone
Starts terrorizing the local zoo.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe someone like Crash Wolverine or saying it's like, oh, actually, no, I had an idea of like a Sonic analog where it's like, yeah, they're just trying to collect rings.
Yeah.
Which means they're collecting any rings they can find in this place. Oh no, they've knocked over a jeweler's. Oh god, they just beat up that woman and stole the ring off her finger.
wedding ring.
No!
Yeah.
You can't be doing this. Fast hog.
Yeah, I mean, Smash Banuka just goes to a fruit stand, or like a grocer's.
Yeah,
just starts
yeah.
stealing
It's all the thing that they're
apples.
causing chaos. I think in terms of some things I imagine about this, I'm like, this game has to be set, I think, in a small town.
Yeah.
Because the police obviously suck anyway, but also it's like, they shouldn't really... They're going to be too slow to meaningfully be a part of this story. So a small town makes sense.
Yeah. I like this. And then, like, you could... I don't know how you're, like, getting rid of these possessing things, but, like, what if it's you taking them on and then that... Sorry, I'm just going into full Cursed Console mode here. But what if this is... The way that you exercise them is to take them onto yourselves, and then that changes the questions for your moves.
I feel that could be fun if this was not a one-shot game.
Yeah, if this was full Cursed Console...
Yeah.
I think that's
the thing. This is so much it rips definitely that plot of Cursed Console.
Yeah.
Of like a game that's messing with things. I don't think it doesn't have the ambition of Cursed Console where we were like, mini games, stickers.
Yeah.
My current idea was the way you uninstall them is that initially I was like, do you have a move for that? Is that do I write a 6 move for this game that wouldn't be in Test of Time because it's specific there? I will tweak some of the moves from Test of Time. Like, I think I'm gonna do violence be a bit of an inverted move, where it's like, yeah, all of the questions are still the same, but it's that, like, loads of successes are not, you do that. There's successes are like, yeah, you kind of lose control. Like, you hurt this person way more. So, like, the actual best violence scenario is you don't have many dice, but the difficulty is kind of low.
Yeah.
And it's, how do you negotiate that situation? But my idea for getting rid of them was currently like, oh, you've got to incapacitate them sometime via either glitching them out, making them think they've completed their objective,
or beating them like in their game,
making them think they've lost their objective, or griefing them in a way that they rage quit would be it. Like other ways of where you like trick a character, and I'm like, maybe the pre-gens suggest different solutions for different things.
I was thinking, like, if it's Jumping Italian Man, you have to kick a turtle at him or jump on him or something.
Yeah, I feel it would be a lot of like, well, what would it be for this thing? And I think the pre-gens have some suggestions of like, one solution could be, but also I think this is a game that should reward inventive
absolutely,
solutions from characters. So I wouldn't want it to be prescriptive, but I'd have a gimme answer that like the GM could like heavy-handed hint if people are stuck.
But then if it's like if the players think of something that's fun.
Yeah. My idea with, like, I was then thinking of other things. What does this game need? And I was like, well, this game does need someone to explain the plot. Like, explain...
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like,
I think maybe the first person you meet is Tutorial Man.
Yeah, that could actually be a fun angle. My idea was like, oh, this person needs to be someone who can know about this, but for some reason is not going to actually do much about it themselves.
Yes.
My one idea I had was like, oh, I've written actually a sort of like diegetic dialogue, which is this character I came up with as one option explaining it, where it's like, oh yeah, it's just like a dirtbag lesbian who like chills in her aunt's thing, and her aunt's really annoyed at her because she's always playing games instead of getting a job, so she's like, I've laid a curse on your console, and she's like, oh man, that wasn't actually mine, and then I returned it to work, and did you guys touch it? Oh, you should not have done that. So she's like, yeah, my aunt's a witch, I'm gonna decurse this console, you guys go take these memory cards and I'll...
Yeah.
But I do actually enjoy your idea of, you meet a tutorial character.
Yeah, and he gives you 5 PlayStation 2 memory cards that you have to use to stop the evil... whatever.
Yeah. I feel this is kind of... In my mind, I'm like, this is a bit sort of 80s... like adventure comedy stuff. It's a bit Jumanji. It's a bit Gremlins.
It's Jumanji, but it's a video game that comes out rather than the jungle.
Yeah, but not in the way the modern Jumanji.
Yeah, that's why I said comes out.
Yeah, it comes out. It's also, yes, if you are listening to this and watching the current Dimension 20 season, I'm like, yeah, it definitely, like, I thought of like, it's kind of a flip of that.
Oh,
well, they go
movie?
into an action movie, but I was like, oh, I like this. Like, I was thinking about how they have avatars there, and it's like, oh yeah, like Wendell Pierce ends up in the body of, Vic Effanol, and then I was like, I think probably start of my thought was like, well, what would Vic Effanol do if they were in the real world? Do you want to write a bunch of? I like your ideas for fake video game names. So if you want to just send me over ideas of them, I'll probably use them at any time.
Let's look at my game shelf, because we're recording in my living room. Let's have a look. So we've got Smash Banuka. We can do the Lord of Fighting. We got Plush Kid. We've got Connection.
I've always like a thing of needing to like look at different genres as well. Like we need a first-person shooter.
Yeah, you need
a platformer guy. I think like getting a race car could be fun because they have so little personality.
Yeah. I think they're just called like race car.
Yeah, probably a fighting game. I think is fun.
Yeah, punch kicks a lot.
Yeah. And this is a chance, I feel like the tone of this can be very fun. I feel this will be a fun thing to write.
Yeah.
And so this is this isn't like out of the fold where like my challenge is, I'm going to write this game in 2 weeks, but this is probably the thing I will work on writing at the moment, as opposed to other projects of mine that are either in editing states, like TDL 2 or Psycho Dungeon, or things which feel like they're further off. Like Test of Time Flies, whatever I call it.
Yeah.
Nemesis revealed, I just need to do a playtest somewhere, but I very easily could do that because that can work as a one-shot game. Anyway, I always like having something I can be writing at the moment if I just feel like the urge to write.
Cool. I think that's a wrap on that. Did you have a name for this?
That's the thing. I don't want to call it Cursed Console.
No.
Because also, that's a fun name, but I don't think it's like a brilliant name.
No.
And also, I feel if people listen to this thing, they'll be like, oh shit, you made the game with minigames and stickers? And I have to be like,
no.
Nah, it's kind of like a...
It's the demo disc of Cursed Console.
I was going to say, like, this game is, like, definitely PBTA descended. I don't think I should describe it as PBTA, just because...
It's like 2 steps descended. It's like the grandchild of PBTA.
Yeah, and so in that extent, I'm just like, I think if if I describe this as PBTA and someone who's familiar with PBTA picks it up, they'll be like, this is not the game I expected.
Yeah, where is my 2d6 plus thing?
Even if you could reasonably say, well, it's definitely powered by the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Do you have any ideas for this game? I know naming things is not a thing we always do on the podcast because of how much it's us going,
this is why editing software exists.
Yes, that's true. I think the thing with this is the title needs to take itself seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the title should make it seem like think the idea of a game as a joke, even though I think this is a game which is light-hearted. I wouldn't describe it as a comedy, even though I think the film
I was about to start
game...
rattling off a light novel title, so I'm glad you started.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work. Because I think it will make it look like I am dismissing the game itself, unless I'm tying into it. I feel like you probably need something related to games.
Yeah.
But also it does need to be, like, unique enough that, like, I imagine there are, like, fucking 15 RPGs called Game Over. I'm not going to call it Game Over, you know.
Uninstall, Games to Life.
Don't know if I want a subtitle, but I might need to.
Uninstall, and then you have a little sticker on the side of the cover that says it includes a 4 megabyte memory card.
Yeah, I also feel like art for this could be fun because I could just make some shitty pixel things.
Yeah, just big crush some royalty free art.
Yeah. This could be fun. Yeah. Uninstall I don't necessarily love. Maybe something about cheat codes could be fun. Though actually cheat codes are currently not a thing I have any conception of in the game, so maybe that's a false promise.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll land on a perfect name in this, so I'm going to suggest we move on from it.
Yes, so you said something earlier that made me like, oh my god. The game name is One Shot Town. What is One Shot Town?
Oh yeah, because I just joked because of being...
You needed to get out of One Shot Town or something. Or
no, I said I'm going back to One Shot Town.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's really easy for me now because I go play... I am running a lot of TCRPG one-shots at the Queer Social at Badger. If you live in and around Southeast London, and you are, invited to a Queer Social, or whatever,
Yeah.
feel free to come along, that's fun. So it means it's really easy for me to run one-shots, so I think my game designer could see it drifting towards that. What is One Shot Town? I feel this is like a Weird West game.
Yeah.
It's a game where you've got to go to some location. I feel it's kind of an almost. This is once again being prone to my own bullshit, where I'm like, oh, it's some kind of like ethereal half world, and it's like, oh wow, Kayla with an ethereal half world, how groundbreaking. But I was gonna be like, yeah, everyone there has a gun, but every gun only has one bullet.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like every bullet always kills somebody. And
have you ever read Bullet with an X as a
bullet with it? I never heard of it.
Ah, I thought you should look it up. It might be your kind of thing.
Okay, what is it? A game?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it's like every gun always kills the person it's fired at.
Yeah, but you only have one.
You only have one shot. Can you save the town?
Yeah, I feel like there's a curse involved here.
Yeah.
Or not, maybe not a curse, but I feel like this is not just like you've all got one bullet. Like maybe it's in a weird sort of post-apocalyptic thing.
I think it is just like Wild West, but it is just a stated fact of this world that every gun has one bullet. Or maybe you're right, maybe a curse has been placed on this town that all of the inhabitants' guns just don't reload anymore.
I suddenly had an idea where I'm like, oh, maybe this is a sort of semblance of plot idea.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, maybe the curse isn't about a town or a place. Maybe it is a curse on this section of bullets.
Yeah.
Like someone made these bullets and they melted something down into them that has led to them being sort of cursed, and they're destined to hit their target. And you and I guess all of the player characters who are coming to One Shot Town are ones who have a bullet each.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's that everyone who has one of these bullets has descended to this town, and they're like, well, I want the whole magazine.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is people sort of grappling over this cursed power that is currently really split up, but they're like, well, I want it all.
Yeah, and it's like, I could shoot one of these other guys who has the bullets.
Yeah.
But then I have to use my bullet to get it.
Yeah, then you're only like a 1 bullet surplus. So it's like, I think it's a lot of combat emphasis is on like forms of combat that aren't gunfire.
Yeah. And it's like you're hunting down the smith.
Yeah. Whereas then like you never roll for shooting. It's just
you say it happens.
Yeah. I feel that there's probably maybe some roll-off mechanic or whatever if you say you are shooting another player, because that could be awkward.
I kind of want to say it just happens, but yeah.
But I feel that it's a thing where, like,
maybe there's, like, a roll-off mechanic for, like, quick drawing to shoot them first.
Maybe there's also just, like, maybe the game has a more strict turn order.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the main reason I'd be like, oh, they should accept maybe if they're... is because the idea of someone who can dominate the conversation, seeing that their character is about to get shot, and then just interrupting to say, oh, actually, I want to shoot them first.
Yeah, I think...
That's just bad.
We probably use the Doctor Who RPGs initiative order, which is like, talkers go first, then doers, then runner-awayers, and then fighters. Something like that order.
That's actually a fun thing. Like, your order is determined by what you're planning to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, One Shot Town sounds kind of fun, to be honest. Are you big into westerns or anything?
I wrote like a paper about them in university. About how westerns are just samurai movies, are just night errands.
Yeah.
It's all just the same thing, just different settings.
Yeah. I had a big like western phase when I went from secondary school to sixth form. For some reason, I started studying film studies because I studied media studies at secondary school, and film studies sounded more interesting as like narrowing of that focus. But then I was like, well, if I'm going to study film, maybe I should get serious about film. And for some reason, I went on Amazon and like ordered 6 films that felt serious to me. Because I'm weird.
What was it, like Kurosawa?
Yeah, no, I had Rashomon 7 Samurai, Magnificent 7. I think I might have ordered the... Fight Club was on one of them.
Yep.
Maybe Citizen Kane. Maybe I went even that classic. I could find this because they were on my Amazon account.
Yeah.
So you know that thing of how you can check all the way back to find the first thing you ever ordered. But anyway, because of that, I ended up getting really into westerns, which obviously are a genre with a sort of fucked association.
Yeah.
But I do find a lot of the hallmarks and functions and signifiers of like some western stuff very interesting. There's all those things where whenever I say I don't like war films to people, I also have to clarify, like, but to be clear, that's not a big political objection. I just think they're boring. I've liked westerns, for example.
Which is a much more problematic stance to take.
Yeah. But One Shot Town seems fun.
Yeah.
I had a funny thought on Bleed the RPG.
The actual play... The RPG, actual play RPG.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more about it where I was like, oh man, I do actually genuinely find this idea of like a game where you're playing these layers with... You know, you're playing a character and then you're playing the player who plays that character. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I could never write this game as the actual play RPG because I just don't have enough interest in that world.
Yes.
It would not meaningfully be about actual play. And I think it would feel kind of shallow for that. And then I was like, would this game work if it's not got that actual play thing?
Well, no, I think you could, like, re-contextualize it to be like a soap opera.
That could also work if you're doing that. But I was then stuck on RPGs more, and here was my thing. I was thinking, like, well, yeah, what if it is just about people's home game? And I'm like, but why are you also playing the players? Why is that interesting? And then I realised what it's about, which is it is about how TTRPG groups come to an end.
Yeah.
I was at a party once, and the person who invited me to the party introduced me to a friend of his, and went, hey, this is, I'm going to say the name, we used to play D&D together. If he just made a joke, except then there was loads of schisms between the groups, so we stopped playing. And I just looked at them and went, yeah, multiple overlapping breakups? Instead of like, no, yeah. I'm like, throwing it out there, I've played 2 out of the 3 Monster Hearts campaigns I've ever played in ended due to overlapping breakups, as did my games of Worldwide Wrestling. I was looking back at the first Blades in the Dark campaign I played, and I remember thinking, that was a really fun game. I do not speak to 2 of the people in that anymore. I mean, maybe one of them I'll speak to again, but I'm just like, that is a fact of it. Like, you could do it in other ways as well. Like, sometimes it's like, oh, maybe this is a game where there's like a timer, because you'll be playing maybe like kids who have just finished 6th form and they're going away for uni, and these are the 6 sessions they have before they go away. But I think it's a game that would be a lot about like the relationship between these people, and you'd be exploring. I feel like there'd be clocks for each relationship, and it's like you are just filling those clocks when it seems appropriate. And I think this would be really good. I don't know if I, in this moment in time, should be writing a breakup game.
Thank you for listening to Game Soup.
Yeah, I thought explaining that manic